Welcome to Modern Goddess. Here we discuss everything mastering your mindset, wellness wisdom, upgrading your relationships so that you can unleash your divine goddess essence and live your authentic best self every single day. I'm your host, Cassie Aurora. Welcome back. I'm so happy you are here with me today for this episode. I want to start by just saying that I hope you enjoyed the Gemini moon, and if you didn't get a chance to listen to the new moon podcast, the episode before this one, I'd strongly encourage you to just have a listen. I mean, we are bioenergetic beings, and the astrology really is as above, so below, and everything that's going on with the planets is going on the subatomical level. Like, if we think about the human cell, it's like in the middle we have the nucleus, and it's shown in, by scientists that it's like the sun, it's this burning nucleus. And yet, like, we have the same in our solar system, the same structure going on. We have the sun and the planets going around the outside. So even at our most subatomic level, we are literally mirroring. We are mirroring all the time. And so, if you didn't get a chance to listen to that podcast, I would strongly advise listening to it, because it's just an interesting perspective on Gemini. And I don't do Mickey Mouse astrology. I look at the very deep intrinsic layers in my own self-study. I'm going deeper and deeper now into really the roots of where all Western magical traditions come from. And I mean, I'm a true Scorpio in that nothing's ever going to be enough. I'm constantly seeking the deep and mysterious. I guess that's what makes me so good with my clients, is I'm like a emotional sniffer dog, and I gently and patiently will always get to find out deeper and deeper layers of things. It's just my nature, because I'm curious. And that's really about the Gemini thing. But yeah, we're going through a whole new karmic cycle now, guys, and I don't want you to miss out what this means for you. And with my private one-to-one clients, we don't look so much astrologically, but for sure there's stuff that I'm like, okay, if you didn't know, this is going on for you right now. Actually, I've just jogged my memory, and one of my beautiful clients has got a huge north node in Gemini shifting across her career house. And it's just crazy, because when this happened, she started working with me, and like literally her career is starting to skyrocket from all the energetic work she's doing. And she's a holistic entrepreneur, and I'm just like, this woman is going places. So it just shows the astrological transits happen, but you kind of have to do something with the energy, So I'm going off on a tangent as usual. I can't help myself. I just sit down and I like to chat to you and share stuff with you. And I know a few of you, like, I've heard that some of you listen to my podcast in the bath, and this is why you haven't been sharing photos. I'm like, yeah, I want to see a photo of your feet. Not you in the bath, like, I'm not that Scorpio, but like, yeah, little feet in some bubbles. I would love that. So if you do listen to it in the bath, hit me up. Let me know. And wherever you're listening to this episode, take a screenshot, tag me. I would so appreciate that. And then it helps other people find the podcast and get this useful information. So something I've been thinking about a lot lately is, I'm so interested in what kind of things you guys are struggling with more right now, because we're all on a path, we're all on a journey. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I do a lot of deep work, but it would be ignorant of me to say, as a human being, that I am not, navigating through some of my own stuff right now. I'm in a house where I don't really see anyone. Like, I haven't seen my friends in ages, like, as in person. Like, I feel isolated, and that's been bringing up a lot for me to heal. And so I'm curious, like, where are you right now? What are you experiencing? Like, I mean, examples of where your energy is stuck and where you need to do deeper healing might be if you're suffering from chronic pain, if you've got a condition or weird conditions that the doctor just keeps giving you creams for but doesn't get to the root of, and something's deeper, if you feel anxious a lot, if you feel exhausted, if you feel like a deep sense of tiredness, not like yes, tired, but like a sense of like deep soul tiredness. If you feel like life is passing you by and everyone around you has everything you want, but you feel like, okay, I don't feel good enough or worthy of having that. If you spend a lot of time people pleasing and you're only left feeling unfulfilled. If you feel lost and like lacking direction. If you feel like you never have any money but you're working really hard. If you feel like you're constantly trying to change your life, or more specifically change your body, and you think like you're not good looking enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not thin enough to be successful yet, and you're constantly trying different diets, different workouts, different things. If you constantly go through those, disordered eating patterns, maybe if you feel clingy, so like slightly codependent, but then you also feel the swing to want to isolate yourself. If you feel like a deep sense of loneliness, even if you're around people. If you feel like you're too emotional or you just don't have any emotions. If you feel like you just suddenly flip out for no reason. If you feel like you're failing. Yeah. If you feel any of these things, there's more than that. If you've got digestive problems, which you're going to get to in today's episode, these are all signs that you need deeper healing and that something you're doing isn't working. And the key is here, I went through this myself. Like, I went through years of feeling, I'm going to be honest, like shit. Like, I felt awful. My periods were scant or I lost them. Then when they came back, they were really painful. I was holding on to so much water weight when I got well after my eating disorder recovery. Then I just couldn't lose weight and I bloody didn't even eat anything. I was fatigued. I was, now it comes out, I've actually got some physical conditions I've still got to work with, which I'm working with a nutritional therapist on. But there were, she said to me, her words were, if you hadn't done this deep healing work and really like sort out the soul work, then you'd be in a worse place. She was like, considering what your physical routine is, like, we just need to support you. She was like, but you would have been in a really bad place had you not done this. And it's true, like, I got my health back all with the deep inner work. And you can too. Like, if I can do this, you can. The thing was that conventional therapy and counselling and cognitive behavioural therapy and the eating disorder unit, like, they didn't help me. Like, they were surface level. And really, if you're in a position where the thing that you've been dealing with, whatever it is, has been going on for really more than a year, then yeah, it's time that you invest in yourself and seek deeper help. And that can be any way. It doesn't have to be me, but if something in your soul is saying, you know what, I feel connected with Cassie, like, I feel like she's someone I would want to work with and help me fully heal on a whole soul level so I can actually have a long-term healing process, then reach out. There are no quick fixes. There are no magic pills, and our society is hell-bent on those. Do this diet, you'll feel better at the end of it, and then you do the diet, you feel the same. You chase a workout, you chase a body image, you feel the same. You chase a career and then you still like get to the pinnacle of it and you feel the same. You have everything, but you still might feel like rubbish, And so that's a sign that you need to return to a more natural approach. And if we look at nature as our biggest teacher, trees don't just burst out the ground. It takes them many, many years to grow strong and wise and sturdy. And that's what we want to do. And that's my approach to healing. And this is why my clients, whether they just have one astrology reading or they go through a full spectrum 3-month coaching program with me, this is why they get long-lasting results and they see their life changing week after week, because we do work that heals at the most deep level. And you also want to surround yourself with those people that lift you up. That's so important, even if it's digitally. Speaking of which, I do want to take a moment to share with you something that is lifting me up day after day. I'm in a community on Christina Rice's up-level membership. Blimey, I'm doing well today. And most of you know that I'm in this membership now, but I love it. It's full of like-minded, high-vibing women, and every time I go on the forum and I post and just have a chit-chat, I feel instantly uplifted. It's a membership where you can get unlimited access to exclusive blogs, guides, courses, monthly Q&A, video calls about all things health and wellness, and that means on a soul level too. On there's never seen before interviews and exclusive video content that you cannot get if you're not in this, with some pretty big movers and shakers in the field. Like, I am very impressed, and I find myself just on there for hours with just uplifting content. You can get the Wellness Foundations course, and that is really powerful. It gives you all the foundations to really, like, if you did these things, you would already probably be 80% better, and it's got a growing course library, so there's always new stuff going on there. I did Christina's Paleo Women Lifestyle Program a few years ago to really get my physical health on track in my eating disorder recovery and my gut recovery. And she has in there like sneak peeks of that course and also the Ditch Your Acne course. So if you've got skin issues, there's a lot of free content in there, especially for you. Also, what I love is there's the recipe ebooks. I'm always making paleo treats and nice desserts from the ebooks. And there are 2 8-week workout guides. There's a healthy grocery shopping list, which is needed now more than ever. And there's other downloads that are really useful. I can't think of them all off the top of my head because there's so many. But trust me, like, there's something for everyone, believe me. I really love the monthly live Q&A calls that are with Christina herself, because you can ask her anything and the calls are recorded so you can watch them back, which is really helpful because, sometimes we want to see something again, and that's always helpful. I love the membership really because, it gives you the tools that you need to vibe higher, step into your higher self, reach your health goals, look at topics like gut health, hormone regulation, weight loss, fitness, body image, self-confidence, manifestation, all the wellness things that you need to level up in your life. And you know what? Like, it's super valuable. I couldn't even afford to do a yoga class for that much here in the UK for what I pay for my membership monthly. You literally get hundreds of hours of exclusive content to help you reach your health and wellness goals for less than a yoga class. And people pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to work with a practitioner one-to-one, but this membership does contain the tools and it gives you the knowledge from a practitioner, but for like $20 a month. And you can cancel at any time, so you're not like tied in. What I kind of wish I had done now that I think about it is enroll for a year, because when you enroll for a year, you can get 2 months free. So when you sign up, do that. And something I'm really excited to offer you is that you can use the code Modern Goddess. that's all lowercase, one word, and you get 20% off your first month subscription. So use the code Modern Goddess, or one word lowercase, for 20% off your first month subscription. And if you enroll for a year, like, you get 2 months free, but it doesn't matter what you do because I'm going to see you in there anyway. So go to christinaricewellness.com/membership and you can sign up there. And when you've done it, let me know so I can say hi in the forum and introduce you. But also, if you've forgotten all that, it's all in the show notes. So don't worry. Just go to the show notes. All the links, the code, it's all there. So let's get on to today's guest, because this is the juice that you're here for. So today's guest is Sara. She's a holistic health coach and founder of Sara B Wellness. I met Sara through my biz coaching, no BS biz school with Christina Rice, and I love her. She's always got so much to say. She's got so much knowledge, and we have a great conversation. It was so fun having her on the podcast. She's passionate about helping women to naturally get rid of their bloating for good so that they can be confident every day of the week. So you need to check her out. She is taking on one-to-one clients right now, and I think, if you've had bloating for like ages and it's just not gone away, she's your girl. So you can head to her Instagram. It's all in the show notes. Her website is sarabwellness.com, and I know she'll want to hear from you. So make sure you hit her up and you let her know what you thought of her on the podcast, and give her a little follow. Go and see her incredible content. Like, she has some really helpful stuff, and it's not what you think, because honestly, bloating is so misunderstood here, and allopathic medicine, it fails to help us, but she really knows her stuff. So I really hope you enjoy this conversation with Sara, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. So if you want to book in a reading with me, if you want to book in coaching with me, you know what to do. Send me an email, drop me a DM on Instagram, and I look forward to hearing what you think of the show. So let's go ahead and welcome Sara to the show. All right, so let's get into the pod. I already is recording, so we can just chop some out the front. So we're going to talk about bloating.
Yes, all the digestive issues you could imagine.
Trust me. I mean, I think I've probably had them all. So I'm excited for this. I've worked a lot on it, but it's definitely something no one talks about at the dinner table, like poop and digestion, And everyone's like walking around like, I'm bloated. I'm like, oh, okay, this is really normal problem for everyone. And the doctor, he doesn't care. So, all right, Sara, so everyone who's listening, I got Sara on. Is it Sara or Sarah? Because it's Sara, right?
Yeah, it's Sara.
Yeah, because it's spelled Sara, right? And in like England, we would say Sara. And I've been like, shit, have I been saying it wrong all this time? And so I try and listen, and I'm like, maybe everyone's saying it wrong. So Sara, Sara's in my business coaching group, and Sara's, well, do you want to introduce yourself to our lovely listeners?
Absolutely. So my name is Sara B. I'm a holistic health coach, and I specialize and I'm super passionate about helping women naturally get rid of their bloating so they can be confident as fuck every damn day of the week, because bloating isn't normal, but it's been normalized. So it's really about disrupting that paradigm so women can wear their favorite jeans, go out to eat and not stress, because that's how life is supposed to be lived.
Yeah, and also like one of the biggest things for me with like bloating was I just felt like unsexy, and it was affecting my sex life. Like, you don't feel sexy when you got pregnant bloaty belly and you like can't And it doesn't matter how like lean you are, if you've got your little pot belly. Like, it happens to me if I eat certain things still. Like, definitely, like your post, like I definitely eat too much cauliflower, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and just have like pak choy, and I'm gonna have some like roasted courgettes, and just, I don't eat spice, and my bloating's not bad at all, but I was like, I'm just gonna make those changes, and then I can actually go to bed and like have sex. Whereas if I
Well,
don't,
no, I totally feel that because I've been with my boyfriend for over 5 years. So, I
yeah,
mean, he's been like through it all. And I
yeah,
mean, that was a big issue in our relationship because
yeah,
I would get bloated all the time and he would like start rubbing my back and I would just be like, no, like he would totally respect me, but it's just like I wanted that connection and I wanted that with him. But it's just like when your stomach is bloated, you feel like you're suffocating. Like no one's going to enjoy it. So, I mean, once like solving that issue and also just like having that communication as well, like your sex life will change. I promise.
yeah, exactly. You heard it here first. Me and Sarah, the Sex Pistols of the podcasting world, apparently today. Okay, so do you want to talk about like what got you into this? Like, I'm assuming you mentioned 5 years of bloating. I guess it maybe was longer, but do you want to talk about your story? Like, just share how you got to this a little bit.
Yeah. So, like way back in the day, like middle school, high school, my digestion suddenly did like a 180. Like I went from being able to eat like everything, like no cares in the world, going to the bathroom every day, to being hella constipated, like awful bloating, awful smelling gas. And for the longest time, I thought it was normal because my mom had IBS like symptoms. So I was just like, shit, I have my mom's digestive system. Like I just have to deal with it now.
Oh,
Um, but then once I got into college and towards the end of my career, what is when I started realizing I'm like, this isn't normal
mm,
because things were starting to get worse. Like my gas smelled like honestly, I would say the gas was more embarrassing than the bloating just because it smelled so bad and you can't control it.
mm,
And then I couldn't like my food list got very, very small. So, just like anyone, I went to my primary care doctor and they were like, "Oh, your mom has IBS. You just have IBS. Just take Miralax."
yay.
Which I was already kind of like, I'm already doing the Gas X, the Pepto thing, and those things aren't working anymore. So, my last year of college is when I enrolled to get my certification because I felt like I already had my toes dipped in the health and wellness space because like I wanted to heal so bad. So, once I went paleo, I was like, this is my answer. Like, this is how I'm going to feel better because literally everyone and their mom who did paleo was like, my digestion's on point. I lost weight. My skin is clear. But that didn't happen to me. It actually got worse.
I
So
bet.
after I graduated is when I got tested for everything. I found an integrative center. And that's when I found out I had Epstein-Barr virus. I had antibodies in my thyroid. I had SIBO. And pretty much once I got all my diagnoses, it was like a sign of relief because it's like it's not in my head. It's not just IBS. Like I actually have these things. So I would say now like I have been healed. I have felt better. I mean, the only things that I would say I'm struggling with now is just getting my period back because it's kind of funny when I had my digestion change was also when I had very um poor body dysmorphia. I had I was never diagnosed with an eating disorder, but I had eating disorder like behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So as I talk about this with you, it kind of makes me think like I treated my body with so much hatred and like disrespect that my digestive system, like that's how my body physically manifested it. It was like, this is how I'm going to get her attention.
Yeah, you're so right. Like, I remember when I was severely underweight, like, even though I was like skin and bone, I still had a little pot belly. And that made it worse because but I'm still fucking fat. And it's because I was chronically bloated. But um, genuinely, like, you're similar to me in that you have a more nervous system type, as in your mind's a little bit more on the Vata side, you've got the Vata
Mhm.
hair, and like we have that in common where we are quite in our masculine. I think we and that can be good, but like I think in a world that's already yang as fuck, like it doesn't help us. And I'm curious because when your bloating began, because there's like this thing about you get the disordered eating, I think sometimes because you're so fucking scared of all the foods, because every food scares you. But what was it, do you think, that triggered the bloating initially? Like for me, I only noticed it a few years after a kind of a big section of trauma, and I only really noticed it after that. So I'm just curious, do you know what it was for you that triggered that? Was there something specific?
I mean, so way back, like elementary school, like this is like the thing that comes up for me that I think was just so ingrained in my head that something was wrong with me was it's probably like second, third grade. This guy I thought was cute asked me out, which when you're that young, you are not dating. Like, don't even know. But I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, he likes me. And then the next day he broke up with me. And that didn't hurt as much compared to what I found out why he did. So his friends dared him to ask me out. So that kind of like messed with my head where it's like I didn't think like, oh, fuck him. I was like, oh, there's something wrong with me. And so always during that time, it's like I would see myself as fat um even fast forward to high school, it was just like I had such a hard time with relationships. I liked the chase, you know what I mean? Like I liked the flirting and all of that. But when we got into a relationship, I would freak the fuck out. I would end up breaking up with them because I wanted to protect myself. But I was so scared to have sex because I didn't want them to see me naked. Like my biggest fear was like, we're in the mood, we get dressed, and then he's like, you're ugly and fat. Like, so
Hey.
I, so that's why where it was kind of I became very cold, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
I
'cause
want
it kept you safe from ridicule and
exactly.
humiliation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was that. I think with my stomach issues, and especially like when I wanted to be healthier in high school to lose weight, like I went for the diet foods. I was still eating the very standard American diet, but it's just like I would have so much anxiety around eating. Like it didn't matter if it was a cinnamon roll from a bakery or a handful of almonds. Like I'd be so anxious. Like literally, Cassie, there was one Thanksgiving where I was at my aunt's house and like you eat a lot on Thanksgiving. Like who
Yeah.
doesn't? But literally after everything I ate, I would go into my cousin's room, lock the door, and do like one of those like burn 1,000 calorie circuits. And I would do it every time after I ate a meal, like thinking in my head, like, oh, I'm just automatically burning it off. So I
I've
feel like
done
all
that.
of that
I've done that.
manifested as gut issues.
Yeah, yeah. It's all playing into it. It's all playing into it. It's literally like there's so much there. There's the humiliation and the trauma. There's the feeling I'm not safe if I gain weight. So if I gain weight, I'll be humiliated and that will cause me pain. So I'm not safe. And then if I eat food, I'm more likely to gain weight. So I'm not safe. There's a feeling of I'm bloated. So that makes me fat, which makes me not safe. Then there's, so we've got so many fragments going on in little Sarah's mind. And every time she finds some more evidence, she can go with it. And then we're already stressed with that belief process. But now let's add in some over exercise and mania into the mix. And, it, it, all I'm seeing is the pattern. But like women are going through this. Like I know women who have got this teeter totter around food, there's the guilt, and there's the shame around food and the anger. Inflammation and bloating to me is anger. And like if you were constipated, to me that's like you're keeping your shit in. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like all of those things are going on in your little body, and it took you you know, a doctor, the one person you think is going to help is like, yeah, you've just got IBS. Like, this is the problem. So talk to me about when you found, you know, you obviously went through this challenging time and it really affected your relationships. And, you know, I want to also honor and witness what you said about sex, because a lot of women feel like that, and it feels shit. Like when you can't step into your feminine and just be in that space because you've got this layer of trauma and disconnect that's like, boom, here's my prison, you know. I call it the Maggie Thatcher. Okay, but anyway, so talk to me about what that healing process looked like, and what did you, because paleo didn't help me, made me worse. Veganism's made me worse. You know, I have a list of like 10 foods. So talk to me about the things that you started to change first, and what differences you could see, and why you feel that paleo for you, because you know, for other people, yeah, it can be great, but what was it for you that you just thought, you know what, this is still not right, I'm still missing a piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, so in college, the first thing I removed was gluten because I was like, let's just see. So when I removed gluten, I did feel better. Like I didn't get migraines anymore. My joint pain went down a lot. And then I figured like, why not try paleo? And I would say I eat pretty much that way now, except now it's like if I have rice, I'll eat rice. Or like I'm not strict about that because I realized that when I was strict paleo, like that triggered my eating disorder mindset. So what I kind of like back in the day, it's like I really demonized fats, I demonized sugar. Whereas when I went paleo, I was like demonizing gluten, dairy, like I was demonizing all these foods. So I was like, see if I ate them, I would like it'd send me over the edge. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not strict paleo. I'm immediately inflamed. Where it's like now when I think of it, it's like my anxiety and stress was really what was making me inflamed, not necessarily the food, you know?
Yeah, it's usually that is, it's the anxiety around the food. So what did you do at that point where you're like, I restricted everything I can, and yet I'm still bloated? Then what did you do?
I like went stricter. So I did like low FODMAP because a lot of the foods I was reacting to were FODMAPs. So, I mean, the biggest mistake I made was before I got diagnosed, I tried it and I felt so much better. But of course, when I reintroduced those foods, I like my bloating got worse, my gas got worse because I didn't get to the root cause. So once I found out I had SIBO and got on the proper antimicrobials, low FODMAP was healing for me. But it got to a point where, I mean, low FODMAP, AIP, SCD, like those are all very, very strict eliminations and they can be very stressful.
Yeah.
So when I started getting better, I still had digestive issues, but it was because I was low FODMAP for so long. My body was like, what the fuck? Like we need something else. We need the prebiotics. We need some fiber.
Yeah.
So I like threw out all the rules with like reintroduction for FODMAPs and just like introduced all the ones that like I didn't have reactions to. And I felt so much better. So I mean, I'd say the biggest thing with eliminations, it's like, yeah, there are those rules and like but like you can break those rules. Like you can make it fit your lifestyle and your needs. Because I mean, like for me, like with my SIBO, like I would say like, I wasn't like super, super sick. You know what I mean? I wasn't like severely underweight. I didn't have all these things, but it's like in my head, I thought I did because I was sick for so long. So once I kind of got more flexible and more like out of my masculine head was when everything was starting to flow and find its rhythm again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, just so for anyone listening, FODMAP and AIP, FODMAP is like the foods that are high in certain types of sugars that cause you to like react, and then AIP is an autoimmune protocol, and they look pretty similar and they're very restrictive. And I've done them being vegan. It was hard,
Ooh.
really hard. But the problem was, how did I get out of FODMAP? I'll be honest, I'm still, and like AIP, I had to do a fuck it method. I had to just throw out the rule book. And I think that the biggest reason that works for people like us, Sarah, is because we're so type A that when we fully let go and surrender, the body goes, oh, thank fuck. And it doesn't care. It's like you give your body a holiday mindset. And I notice if I think about any type of food rule, my outlook on life feels shit. And one thing I say to myself every morning is, you can eat whatever you want today, it doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm free. And I don't, it's like my whole outlook changes to the point where my relationship with money changes, my relationship with my partner changes. And I don't think people realize how anal they are about food and their health, and like not wanting something, it makes that thing manifest more. You know what I mean? And so these tools are great. I'm not poo-pooing them, but for someone like us who was, if someone's listening and they're like, I've done everything, I'm bloody this, that, the other, and nothing's working, I'm on a probiotic. It's like, okay, two things: mindset and work with a coach, because what you're doing is not working.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. And especially too, like when I think back to like when I started having like orthorexia like thoughts, it was when I was doing it by myself. It was when I was like, I went to Dr. Google and it was telling
Oh
me all
god.
these things to do. And when I wasn't getting the results it said I would obviously go down another rabbit hole. But like once I had someone in my corner and I started therapy, it was kind of like just like that constant reassurance. Cause it's like I'm very masculine and
Yeah.
like it's like to the point where it's kind of like detrimental, and like being like feminine in the flow, like it's uncomfortable, it's hard, but it's like constantly having someone be like, Sarah, it's okay, like you can let go, like I don't need to have all this control. It feels like a weight's taken off, and then it's like your food's able to digest better because it's like all of that like restriction, like your body feels it. Like you may think it's all in your head, but like you will feel it everywhere. And once you let that go, you'll realize like maybe you'll lose weight easier. Maybe your skin will clear up. Like it's just taking that leap to see what results you can get.
Yeah, the leanest I ever was. I am not the leanest, but I'm saying the healthiest and more comfortable and more soft and confident I've been in my body in 29 years is when I stopped training, when I started eating whatever I wanted, when I started sleeping more, and I literally turned my back on the fitness industry because I was so fucking over it. I love fitness, I love science, I love nutrition, but I just said, you know what, I wash my hands of it. And I think people need permission to do that, because definitely what you said about like, this idea of just it storing in your body, like, I mean, having a coach and a therapist to say it's okay, it's so important, because Dr. Google's rubbish. Like, I literally, the thing about Google is as well, it's in, I don't know if you listened to Paul Check's latest episode with Joseph McCullough, but he was saying that um, Google is censoring anything now that's not invested with pharmaceutical interest anyway. So censorship's coming in. And so the shit that I read, so I'm currently healing from hypothyroid and adrenal shit. And everything I read is like, you should lift weights. And then the other things like, don't lift weights, do cardio. And then I'm like, oh, fuck this all. What does my soul say? But a good coach is one that will listen to you and affirm what you know to be true. Sometimes we need that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And I know, like, especially now with this whole quarantine situation, like, it's impacting people in different ways. But, like, I kind of think of it's a way like the universe forcing us to slow down, because
Yeah.
all of us in different realms of our lives, we are always go, 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 go. We're always like, I should be doing this and that. Whereas now it's like, you have the freedom to try new things. You have the freedom to be like, hey, what do I actually like? And actually look at yourself. Because I mean, that's the hardest thing. And like for me, like I totally agree with you with the fitness. Like I went from being like the chronic like cardio bunny to like doing resistance training 5 days a week. And it's like I ended up getting hurt. My digestion got worse. And then once I started doing more of like 20-minute Pilates, 20-minute yoga, I was going for walks, hikes. That's when I felt better, because another thing with like exercise is another form of stress. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it's good stress, but like you're damaging your muscles. That is stress. So if you
Yeah.
already have stress from work, school, and then you're exercising for like an hour to 2 hours, you're completely like tipping the bucket over down a cliff of how much stress you have going on.
Yeah, it's the rain barrel, as Dr. Cabral calls it. It's the rain
Mm.
barrel. Like, it does my nutting when Instagram, and me and Emma talked about this on a podcast just this week. It's just like, it drives me mad when you see these people in like Gymshark fucking leggings and they've got a protein shake and they're like training. But I'm like, A, you're paid to literally do that. You have no other stress, most people. B, you could just genetically be great. C, you've probably not had shitloads of childhood trauma. Like, there's so much that plays into it, and it can be frustrating for a woman because we're like, I'm doing everything, I'm doing what they're telling me, it's not working. And for me, 100% same. Walking, yoga, stuff that, bloody mind pump would snigger at. They'd be like, what are you doing? Like, it's the only way I can find health right now. And that may change. So interesting. You also said, oh, I can't remember. I'm having a moment. You said something that really resonated. I don't remember what it was. It'll come back. Normally I take notes, Sarah. I'm not taking notes today. Maybe I should be.
We're winging it. It's fine.
I love winging it so much better. Um, yeah, it was just about the stress bucket, and it. I think, yeah, you said this is what it was, because you said right now, as a collective, we're all being sent home into radical rest. Well, astrologically, it's like, I talk about this in my latest podcast, we had no choice. Like, this was predestined, that we have to swing into the yin and the feminine. We've been too busy on the side. And what does nature do? If we're out of balance, we're not in harmony, it shows in our health. And so, and even those people that are ripped on IG or Instagram, whatever, I'm sorry, but that don't mean they're healthy.
I mean, I love that, because I mean, I I feel like we all forget, and I even forget this, like Instagram is what they want us to see. And
Yeah.
especially like the big food accounts. Like for me, I like relaxing to me is like watching people make recipes as I eat. But like with full days of eating or like challenges or mukbangs, we don't know how much they're actually eating. And unfortunately, we don't know what their digestive system like. We don't know if they're throwing it up right after they eat. Like these are all like very unfortunate things, but I'm not gonna lie, like those aren't appealing. And I know with YouTube, I'm sure they would get demonetized. You know what I mean? So again, like it comes back to that money situation.
Yeah, it's an illusion. It's an illusion, and it's damaging because people that aren't in that position, they've got us as coaches just saying, well, this is the truth. Like, you've got Christina Rice saying, she's literally saying, I've seen these people, they are not vegan. They are not what they say they are. I've seen it. But truth isn't sexy. People want to be sold an
Mm-mm.
illusion. It's like, fine, but you try and live like someone else and watch how ill you get. Like, I've done it. I've been in the endless
Mhm.
quest for health. What do you think that's about, that endless search for health?
I feel like it's not even about health. I feel like it's more about perfection. You know what I mean? I feel like we're always looking to be perfect, or like if something new comes out, like we want to be a part of it. So it's kind of like not only do we want that sense of community, but we also want like that perfection aspect. Like for me, it's like that's what I wanted. I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to have like the flowing hair, the beautiful skin, like the super lean, like Sarah's Day body. Like I love her. Her body's phenomenal, but like that was never going to be me. I'm not as tall as her. I don't have the genetics of her. But when I see all this stuff, even if I love them, my brain is like, you should be doing that. You
Yeah.
should look like that. Why don't you look like that? That's why you don't have a boyfriend, because you don't look like that. Whereas all of that's just bullshit. That's all of your ego trying to get you to stay in this box, because the ego just wants to keep us safe. And sometimes it does it not in a positive way. And
Yeah.
often when you break out of that box, your ego's like, oh, I was freaking out for no damn reason. And
Oh,
then you can grow.
it's so true. It's so true. Like, it's to me as well as the perfectionism is we want to belong, we want to be loved, we want to be safe. And I think there's some of it like we want to be so healthy that we're like immortal. Like, it's so true as well what you say about wanting, like, I look at someone else's body and immediately I'm like, well, this means mine's not enough. And that's not true. That's the meaning I have assigned to it. And then I add on to that, so my boyfriend, why would he pick me? Why would he love me? And I always say, I've met the love of my life, and now I have an ego that wants to sabotage it in any way it can. And so I really have to shepherd that. And it's loud. Like, and it must be hard for people who literally like feel that but don't have the tools and don't have a coach to bounce that off, you know? It's hard.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the funny thing too is, so I'm 23 and I met my boyfriend who I'm with now in high school. And
Oh,
like, so like, and like, it's kind of funny to think about, because in high school, I was so scared. Like, that's when I had my digestive issues. But with him, like, I had no fear. Like, I had no anxiety. I was like, ooh, like, I want to be near him. I want to like hug him. I want to like, and
oh,
then and then now here we are 5+ years later. And so it's kind of like, your body knows when you found the right person. Like, it
it,
may take lots of trial and error, but like, your body will know. And like, honestly, it's like, I'm happy I waited to have sex, because it meant something to me. And he was able to help me work through my limiting beliefs, instead of being like, why aren't you like this person? Why aren't you doing this? Like, because that's another thing where it's like, relationships can change the game for you in healing, but it can also make it turn very bad. And it's just a matter of knowing like your self-worth and what you're worthy of, and not taking anyone's bullshit. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
you have to have authority on it. And I think some people aren't aware of that. And it comes out in such weird, subversive ways in relationships. Like, I'll say to my partner, my low self worth is coming up now. This is not you. I'm having the belief I'm not good enough. I know it's not true, but I just need to tell you. And he'll give me a hug and he'll give me some affirmation. It's like, I can give myself the affirmation, but sometimes it's nice. Like, and I do notice, certain, if you've got any unhealed shit about anything, it's gonna come up in your relationship. And this is where, it's about more than the bloating. It's about more than, for me, like my astrology clients, it's always comes back to the same stuff. Like, what's going on in your soul? And your soul knows the answers, but we have so much noise, on the way.
Yeah, and we don't make that connection, because I heard from someone, they're like, bloating is just undigested emotion. Whereas a lot of people always associate to something tangible, like, oh, I ate like a high fat meal, I ate a lot of sodium. But it's like, even after I was done healing, like, I went through the protocol, I was still having issues because I didn't deal with my shit. I still had like some of the eating disorder behaviors. I was still looking at my body. And I mean, like, when I healed, I gained weight. And it's like, I was like, I need to gain weight. I want to get my period back. But like, it was hard, because I had to challenge that paradigm that I've always had. And especially too, like, when I started gaining weight, I'm like, oh, my boyfriend's going to break up with me. Like, all
Yeah.
fears started coming back. And then, like, once it's like, when you have someone to affirm that, like, whether it is your significant other, a parent, or a therapist, like, it gives your brain evidence. Like, when he was like, Sarah, I'm not going to break up with you because you gained weight, it kind of like made a bell go off in my head, being like, oh, he's not going to do that. And it just like, your brain just needs to keep seeing those like positive things to rewire that brain.
Yeah, it needs evidence. It always needs evidence. Like, And I think it is an integrative approach. Like, I have a lot of clients for very deep healing stuff. We're doing like, and I'm always the first to say, like, this will do a lot, because most of my clients have been so far in the nutrition and they're like, a piece is missing. So yeah, there's a piece, there's a place for me. But like, I'm the first one to say, like, okay, I think you should go to an NTP as well. So um and that's why, like, I'm doing my NTP, because I want to be able to give them the full spectrum. But I have like 4 coaches. I have shamanic, I have Christina for business, I have my psychotherapist, who is like, it's some deep spiritual stuff we do. I don't even know what it is. I've been with her for 5 years. And then I have Vivian, my nutritional therapist. I have 4, but I invest in that because I know that all those things, not that everyone needs 4, will change my reality. I mean, I think you'll agree that coaches are probably the best place we can put money if we're doing the same shit and not getting a different result.
Yeah, because with a coach, they will cut through so much of the bullshit. And the thing too is like it's a non-judgment zone. So, I mean, I've had clients being like, "Oh, can I try these things?" Or like, "What do you think about that?" Like, there's no like judgment. Or a big thing too, like as a health coach, is like being willing to change my paradigm. Like low FODMAP for me was great at one point, but it may not be for someone else. So it's willing to see like, what does my client need in this time? Sometimes it's not even nutrition advice. Sometimes they just need
Yeah.
to tell me about their husband and why they're making them mad. And so it's just like, just having someone to answer your questions, give you guidance, give you support, give you love. Like, that's what health coaching is. Like, yes, nutrition, exercise, lifestyle changes are all a part of it, but the mindset piece and having someone who understands is what will change the game for you.
Yeah, it's so true. And like, if you look at any coach, I mean, what are the bloody advice that goes around our business group? Like, we all coach each other because we're all coaches. And like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
listening, it's quite funny. It's like, we gave a girl in our business group, like, I think it was me that initiated, was like, you need to masturbate. And then everyone's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
masturbate. Like, it's so funny. But this is the stuff. Like, this is the stuff of life. So I'm curious, because I'm conscious of time. If someone's listening to this and they're like, I'm fucking bloated all the time, or I bloat maybe more than I feel comfortable with, what are like 5 things that they could do this week to at least make some headway on the fact that they feel like they've got a food baby too often?
Yeah. So, number one thing is start writing down what you are eating, the time. I do not give a fuck about like calories or macros, like just the serving size and how you feel after. Because this is like a gold mine, because this is where you can easily start seeing patterns and triggers. And like a big thing is to keep in mind, it's not necessarily the food that is causing the problem. If you're eating stressed, that can be the problem.
Yeah.
If you're eating just too damn much of it, like if you're eating 3 cups of broccoli, I'm telling you right now, it's probably the broccoli that's making you bloated just because of the type of vegetable it is. So, number one is just starting to write down everything. Just so then, like, you can get a visual and you can have someone look at it objectively. Like, you can bring that to a health coach, you can bring that to someone else to have them be like, oh, this is why X, Y, and Z is happening.
Mhm.
Um, Number two is based on that journal is switching out the inflammatory foods. So I'm not saying like don't do low FODMAP, don't do anything strict. If anything that you want to look at for guidelines, I would say is a Whole30, just because it takes out the big inflammatory foods. And oftentimes just getting rid of those is enough for your body to get rid of that inflammation and start healing. And again, it'll help you see, like, say if you reintroduce dairy and those symptoms come back, now you have evidence, okay, oh, dairy just doesn't work for my body right now.
Mhm.
And then with that, you want to replace those inflammatory foods. So with number three, that is where you're going to start adding in more high quality animal meats and seafood, eggs, vegetables and fruits. And don't feel like you have to get organic all the time. If it has a like tough skin or a peel that you will remove, I don't think you have to get it organic. The only things I say that you 100% should get organic or just avoid is the dirty dozen, just because whatever is sprayed on them is in them and you will eat them. So that's just another way to protect yourself. And with that, there's also nuts and seeds. You can get good quality dairy, but I always recommend when you are healing, just remove the dairy for now. Because remember, this is a temporary process. So at this point, you want to treat your stomach like a baby. You wouldn't be giving your baby all of these processed packaged foods, especially if it's making it sick. So you got to think of yourself in that gentle way. And then I want to say I'm on number 4. This is kind of like a eating etiquette type thing. Every time you take a bite of food, you should be chewing it 20 to 30 times. And I know that is a lot. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't do this regularly, your jaw will be a bit sore, because just like how you work out your bicep, you're working out the muscles in your face to chew. So the reason this is so important is digestion actually starts in our mouths. Like, this is where we start digesting our carbs, for example. And when we chew, like, we want it to be like a mushy liquid, because that takes so much work off of our stomach. Because oftentimes, if we're inhaling our food and never putting our fork down, you're often also swallowing excess air, which causes the bloating and the disruption in your digestion. So a key thing to do with this is you can count in your head. I just find that annoying. So you can either eat with chopsticks, or every time you take a bite, put your fork down, because then this will make it less impulsive for you to just grab another spoonful of food.
Literally, my
And
partner, he is that. He hoofs it down. I'm like, where are you even chewing? Okay, carry on.
literally. And I would say the last one is, even after making all of these 4 changes, I would say invest in a health coach, because these things are all great and these are all things that could be missing in your healing journey. But if you are not getting to that root cause, like, if I never figured out I had SIBO, I would still be bloated, constipated, even with all these great changes I made. So by getting a health coach, they can help guide you through all those changes I recommended and figure out what works best for you, but also getting to that root cause, because getting to that root cause is what will blast that bloat forever. So again, you can be confident as fuck every damn day of the week.
I was like, you know what Christina said in the group? I feel like Sarah's speaking in like slogans now. I was like, I'm loving this. And then you was like, I'm ready, I'm ready. And it's so true. People, if you're listening and you're like, I just feel like I need a coach now, I'm at that point, do it. Whether it's bloating, whether it's healing, whether it's, I don't know, parenting, like, it's short-term investment, long-term gain. So if people are interested in working with you, Sarah, how can they find you? Because I know they're gonna love you and want to connect with you, so how can they do that?
So on Instagram, you can find me at Sara B Wellness. There's no spaces, there's no underscore, just Sara B Wellness.
Without
And you can
space.
just slide into my DMs.
Yeah, slide
I
it.
check them probably too often.
I don't. I'm really bad. No, I do reply, but yeah, I need to be more like Sarah, I think.
I just get excited. Like, if I get a new one, I'm like, ooh, who can I talk to today? Because I have a lot of air in my chart.
Yeah,
So
no.
I love talking. So podcasting is like my guilty pleasure, because I just get to talk.
Yeah, I love podcasting. It's my actual favorite part of my job. And I do love chatting to people on Instagram. Like, new people message me and I'm like, yay, new person. But like, there comes a point in the day where I'm like, I'm not looking at my phone. And it's like this club is closed. Amazing. So Sarah, thank you for coming on. I'm going to link all of that in the show notes so people will find you. And I'm going to stop recording now. So thanks guys for listening, and thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And honestly, like, I want to come back, because we dug a little bit. There's so much more to go into here.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I love it.